In a time long ago, there lived in the kingdom of Gallowmere a sorcerer named Zarok. This arrogant, pitiless man hated his fellow citizens for their simple and peaceful ways. So he raised an army of demons and set out to take the realm for his own. The king's champion, Sir Daniel Fortesque, led the militia into battle against this unholy horde. Songs are still sung of how he spearheaded the charge deep into the accursed multitude, how demons fell before him like wheat before the scythe, and how at last, though mortally wounded, he destroyed the sorcerer utterly. Fortesque went down in history that day as the hero of Gallowmere, and a time of peace began, which was to last for 100 years. And then the sorcerer returned.
It has risen again. Sir Daniel Fortesque, see? The hero of Gallowmere who fell at the first charge. The fog of war and the shrouds of time conspire to turn the arrow fodder into the savior of the day. But we knows better. Let it alone. Fate has given it a second chance. A chance to forget the ignoble truth. A chance to defeat Zarok and live up to the legend. We hopes it does well.
Hey everyone, welcome back with Mac, where today we are starting our playthrough of Medieval for the PlayStation 1. Now this is a game probably still not that well known today. It's a cult classic, and it was a really big deal when it released, but even then, it was kind of, from what I can tell, like from interviews and all the reviews and stuff, it was like a surprise thing, rather than anything like it was meant to be some big budget title or a major PlayStation game. It was kind of like one of those things where like not an indie company, but a company that was I guess it was lower on the tier, maybe, you know, like a smaller company developed it, and there was just a lot of passion behind it. And yeah, I mean, this game is really awesome. I think it's somewhat funny, you know, it's got its comedic moments and stuff like that, but also I think it's just the world that they built for it. I think more than anything, that's kind of what stands out to me the most, and what I remember. And I remember as a kid, this used to freak me the hell out, you know. Even after they had 5 minutes of cutscenes before we even started, but it just does a really good job of, you know, putting us into the story and the war and the setting and stuff like that. And that's why I think really set this game apart, was just, you know, how in-depth it was story-wise at the time. It's the kind of setting where, you know, like chicks, it's that Halloween setting where, you know, chicks base their entire personality off of it. Like, I think Nightmare and Nightmare Before Christmas is what it was. Welcome back to your beloved Gallowmere. The stinking dead have risen up to dance with the lifeless living, and they want to do it over your dead body. So if for whatever reason you just skipped all those cutscenes, you don't understand what's going on, Sir Daniel Fortesque, that's the guy we're playing as right now. What he did was, he was a guy who was really cowardly in life, and was really good at telling stories though. You know, he was a really good bullshitter. So he told a lot of stories about all these supposed triumphs, you know, over dragons and other sort of monsters and whatever. And because of that, you know, the king loved to hear his stories, and the king made him like the head of, you know, his army. But these were all during peacetime, so he didn't have to really worry about backing up his, you know, stories. Then Zarok, as you've seen, attacked, and as you've seen in the opening cutscene of Daniel coming back to life, his last memory was of him dying, and, you know, he got taken out in the first charge, the first set of arrows. And I don't know, to me, I think that's supposed to mean like he's just like extremely cowardly. I feel like it's more of like a case of like, you know, he's kind of just, he has no combat experience obviously, so he didn't think to, you know, put his damn shield up. But it's really weird because like the whole, obviously it's just a game, but the whole game is they make him out to be this guy who has zero combat experience, has no idea what he's talking about, and has zero, he doesn't know how to fight or anything like that. But then you go through an entire game's worth of fighting all sorts of, you know, pretty much like fighting single-handedly Zarok's entire army, when, you know, they barely, you know, whole army barely took him out the last time. So, I mean, the thing that they never really explain, once again, it's a game, but like, how the hell does this dude who only bullshitted his way through stories and stuff like that suddenly turn into this super, you know, big hero and suddenly knows how to take on anything, you know? That's the kind of only issue with the war that I have personally. But other than that, I mean, you know, like I said, the setting, man, that's really what set this game apart. And I think that's why we never really got any too many big sequels or games in this series after the fact. Unfortunately, I think they just didn't know what to do with the series. So we got the second game. I haven't played that before, and I look forward to trying it out on the channel, but that's kind of like a weird going throughout history type thing. And, you know, even like, I got Shaxx up here with a like a mummy chick in the second one and falls in love. And it has something to do with like going through different time periods in history, and because it's like a museum thing, and I don't really know too much because I haven't played it, but it's not the same setting as this. Let's put it that way. It's like, I think, years into the future too. I think like Sir Dan is, for some reason, his body's in a museum, which is pretty crazy, but then like I think that was it. That was the only sequel they had. After that they had like a PSP remake, and I think it just had like a lot less levels and stuff like that. And then they had the PS4 remaster, remake, whatever. I think that was just kind of a skin, but like I think they said there was, I don't know how true it is, but there was planned to have some sort of Medieval 3 come out on the PS2, and it's too bad they never did, because that probably would have been the last console where the series could have, you know, thrived and had some good games, because the PS4 version, I played it, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I don't think it's like built from the ground up. I could be wrong, and if it is, it's just so, they did a really good job of recapturing everything about it, but the original, and making it look so much prettier, but at the same time, it's pretty surreal when you think about that this is something that kind of got remade again, because like I said, this is a cult classic. There's not too many people that I think even really entirely remembered this game to be able to play it and stuff like that. And not that it's a bad game, it's just, you know, it was just a really big deal during the PS1 era is what I would say. And you know, it just, unfortunately, if they were trying to revive the series, which some people said they were, others said they weren't, it was just kind of like a remaster deal. I don't really know what to believe. It's tough because I don't think anybody's really asked the developers of it and what the intention was with it, you know, the series, with the remake and stuff like that. But I think it's just clear that the issue with this series was probably more than anything, which, like I said, they didn't really know what direction to take it in for like a third game. But I think this setting, I think it'd be really cool if, you know, just Sir Dan had to take on some other sort of, you know, medieval times threat or something like that. But I mean, they kind of covered almost everything you could think of at this point. I mean, they have witches. You're gonna see some dragons at some point, and all sorts of crazy things in between. Like we're literally gonna meet the Grim Reaper at some point. But this is just like a great story of redemption, and it's so great at building the lore.
Tread softly. Zarok awaits beyond these gates. The master meets with the demon from the mausoleum, hatching plots of purest evil. Forgotten nobodies would be wise to make themselves scarce.
Like I said, these loading screens would scare the absolute shit out of me back in the day. Especially like when Sir Dan wakes up and he's got that creepy ass grin on his face.
Welcome to the Hall of Heroes, where the bravest warriors from history spend eternity, feasting, singing, and arm wrestling. If they think you're worthy enough, you may be able to persuade them to give you a new weapon.
So yeah, Sir Dan has to collect all the chalices, which is 20. And if he does that, he gets a spot in the Hall of Heroes as well, despite the fact these guys maybe did one or two things during their to get in the Hall of Heroes. Dan has to do like twice the amount of work.
Captain Fortesque, it's me, Canny Tim. Does the battle go well? How I wish I could fight at your side again, sir. But hold, you could take my crossbow. It's got rapid fire and it can ricochet the darts off walls to shoot around corners. I used it at the Battle of Gallowmere. After you were slain, I shot Zarok's champion, Lord Zarok, a clean kill through the eye at some 1,000 yards. Not that there's anything clever about shooting someone in the eye, sir. Oh, goodbye, sir.
But yeah, these guys, as you can see, he got in here because he took that dude out with you know, the 1,000-yard shot and stuff, and that's pretty cool, you know. Yeah, you're about to see this throughout this whole game that Sir Dan has to do, you know, like 20 times the work than any of these other guys did to get into this Hall of Heroes. That said, thank you so much for watching it, and if you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out next week's episode on Miscellaneous Monday, but above all else, please remember to have a nice day.